top secret code, frequency. It's like a 5-digit number. You can pick it out.
Hey everyone, welcome to Forward. We are a new kind of doctor's office that's doing primary care differently. Our best-in-class doctors are here to help you live a better, healthier life. So I'm
Of the year. We had it. And we're listening to the FBI, talk to the police force, the task force, the NYPD. They're following us. We're following them as they're following somebody else. We find out where they're doing surveillance on Vickery. So we're getting addresses and places where to go. So, it's just crazy, crazy time.
Okay, well, this was the big hit, but there was 4 hits total during the war?
Well, yeah, the first one we got was one of the guys that was on the botched attempt on Greg early on. His nickname was Vinny Venus, and we were driving the neighborhood and we were finished. It was the end of the day. We were going to head back to the pool room, which I owned at the time, and call it a night and just go have a drink.
to get closer. Feeling recharging.
Hi there, welcome to Forward. Come on in. I'm Dr. Nate Favini. I'm our medical lead here at Forward, and I'm excited to be giving you a tour of our location.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Last night during the Golden Globes was going on, there were some jokes going on by Ricky Gervais that we can probably talk about later, but 60 Minutes was probably going on a different channel at the same time, and they had a report with some new evidence that nobody has seen yet.
Oh, jeez.
They have some autopsy photos and photos from inside his cell.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So
the
I'll
photo.
show those.
Are the photos online?
Yeah, I'll get them.
Of course they are.
Yeah, I didn't know this was just released. I saw this last night, and I saw one of the photos, and it looks real.
So I watched the 15 minutes that they put together, which is mostly just about like the incident in the cell and surrounding it. I'm just going to show you the pictures though, because we can't watch their thing. Let me try to get the 13 images because they're all.
Am I scared?
No, I mean it's just.
I'm scared already. I'm scared already because of Iran. I don't want to be scared of this video of them whacking this dude. You know they whacked him. Yes. That's 100%. The fact that they thought they can get away with that, that's so crazy. Like, that is such a crazy thing to try to get away with. This gigantic international case. Hey, what happened to the cameras? Oh, I'm fucking broke, man. I don't know. Sucks. Guy hung himself.
They needed a couple days to make the videos and stuff like that.
Bro,
Like,
he tried. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem
these are
with
so
today.
fake.
He tried to hang himself before. And they're like, hey, don't do that again. And he's like, all right, I won't. Give me my belt. Give me my shoelaces. Give me whatever the fuck that guy strangled me with.
Yeah, these photos are all fake, right?
No, hold on.
I mean,
I don't know why it's not.
they're very
we
realistic.
need Eddie Bravo in here immediately.
Okay, here we go. I'll pull this up here. So this is from his cell. This is inside there. I'll put these up on the screen. This was the cell he was in by himself.
Okay.
They said he used a bunch of these orange jumpsuits, which I guess were already in there.
He tied them around his head?
I guess there is a little like spot way up here on the top of the grate where the window is, where you can see maybe there was something up there. But the thing to remember here is that he was about 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. There's one other thing like on this ladder here. There is also some other things I'll get into in just a second that would be easier to use than tying all this shit together. But they showed, there's the other thing here was this. This was about 4 feet off the ground. And they do show a noose, which they're saying was what he used. But as the doctor sort of said, that the noose that they show a picture of, which is what you can see in the top right corner here. Which is playing
Oh, that's
the video.
Dr. Michael Baden. That's that
Yeah.
guy from the HBO autopsy show.
For some reason, I can't, I'll find it in a second, but the picture that shows his actual neck doesn't seem like this noose caused that wound. And it's a little bit lower than it probably should have been.
Oh, Jesus.
So they're showing some of these other. This is some of the pictures of him. This is the bone, his jaw, the hyoid bone.
His
I
jaw
think.
was broken?
Well, there's that fracture that they said wasn't consistent with hanging. It's more consistent with a murder or homicide. And he said, this is Baden's words, is that usually he's seen it in maybe like one bone break, and sometimes two, but there were 3 fractures. And he says like he's almost never seen that in any of his cases he's ever looked over.
And you would think it would be, if you're going to hang yourself from such a short distance, it would be even harder to get a fracture like that, right? Because you're not like jumping out like in an old Western movie, like Clint Eastwood movie, when they would hang him high.
So the one thing that they also had in here was he left a note.
Oh, Jesus.
The note said like there was like 4 things. It said first that it had the name blurred out, but it said this person left him in a shower, locked for an hour. It then said someone else gave him like burnt food, and then bugs were crawling over his hands, and then he just wrote no fun. But there's a ballpoint pen like the one I have in my hand sitting right next to it. And they're like, if you knew he was on suicide watch, you wouldn't give him a ballpoint pen that he could kill himself with.
Jamie, you should be a goddamn detective
Well, this
for
is what
CSI.
they're saying. And he had his sleep apnea machine was in there. It was you could see an extension cord coming from the hallway into his room. That he could have just used that to kill himself and hang himself.
Or the
way
9
easier.
jumpsuits. Why does he have 9 jumpsuits?
Yeah, the jumpsuit thing is freaky. Like they're trying to explain it by bringing in some new witness.
So somehow this is actually a different video that's showing a couple of different things than what I saw this morning. I didn't see this arm thing, and I didn't see the picture of his
But
back.
the arm thing looks like an injection spot. Is that what it looks like?
I guess so. Here's the actual. This is what I saw. Here's the note.
What does it say? Sorry.
So it says,
It's not 60 Minutes get their watermark all over it. It's so funny. Sorry, 60 Minutes. Thank you. Thanks for getting this.
So it
What
says,
is it?
kept me in a locked, it's blurred right here. It says the
Right.
name is blurred. Kept me in a locked shower stall for 1 hour. Someone, I don't know the name, sent in burnt food. Giant bugs crawled on my hands, and then no fun. And then they're saying, and then he killed him. But then this ballpoint pen was next to it, that he could have stabbed himself in the neck or whatever. You know.
Yeah, it's hard to kill yourself with a pen.
Yeah.
But
Do they get pens?
that's
Not usually, but this is like a,
High profile
I'll
case.
yeah, I don't know.
It's just.
Yeah,
Boy,
I don't think you should
look,
have a pen.
It might look. It's bad to say either way if you don't know, and I'm guilty of that 100%. I'm like, that guy didn't kill himself. I am talking shit though. I'm not talking in terms of like we have to understand. This is really important. We're doing a podcast. When you're doing a podcast, you don't have to be factually accurate. You just have to talk shit. And hopefully if you fuck up, you correct it, and it's funny. I'm not a science expert, but when these guys are saying that the guy died by strangulation, there's all these points of consistent strangulation, and it takes forever to get these pictures, and then there's the video cameras didn't work, and this is the second time he tried to kill himself, and he's a high-profile witness in a really, really, really important case involving pedophiles at the highest levels of government. Yeah, I would think that that's the kind of guy you whack.
You're also, according to the procedure, you're not when there's a suicide there, you're not supposed to remove the body and take it to the emergency room. You're supposed to treat it as though it was a murder or like a crime scene.
What's crazy is that it's so high profile. Like even because this is most likely how they did it forever, right? Like people that whack people, they were probably like, I was doing comedy before the internet. they were probably whacking people before the internet, right?
Do you want to see? I found the graphic image.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm not scared.
Don't see if you don't want to see it, Brian. But
I saw that. He has weird texture on his cheek, I thought.
Interesting, Brian.
Like
Tell me more.
Like bed marks almost, like he was maybe
I think that's just the blood rushing to his head. Yeah. Bro, that guy got strangled. That looks like a strangled guy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Or choked from
But the thing is, like,
there's no
did
blood
they
on that.
clean him?
That's
No.
the thing. There's no blood on that noose that they said was the noose that did it. And
but there's
no
blood on his body.
And there's no pictures of him in the cell. They didn't take any pictures of that.
Wait, hold on. There's no blood on the noose they said killed him, but yet there's blood on his neck?
Correct. That was pointed out by the
Well, that's
reporter. in the
insane.
scene-
That's
in the thing,
insane.
too, right?
That's impossible.
No.
If did they really do a test of the rope that they supposedly said
Just showed a
hung him?
picture of it, and it looks very clean and
picture.
unused. And
Well,
I
it
don't
is
know.
orange. Maybe the red doesn't show up that clean on orange. Can we look at it again?
I
I think we should probably look. I want to say for sure they killed him.
And the lawyer she's talking to
fine.
in the piece is his former cellmate's lawyer, and he's just, no, it's obviously.
Bro, the former cellmate is my favorite part of the story.
Yeah.
A gigantic ex-cop who's a murderer and a drug dealer. And he's fucking huge. He's a gorilla, a straight-up gorilla, a big Italian gorilla. And they put him in jail with that guy? Come on, man. They probably...
They're talking about it right
come
here.
on. Look at his neck. Okay, so they're examining the thing. This is Dr. Michael Baden from HBO.
Correct.
And he's examining the thing that was supposedly used to kill him, and he's saying there's nothing on it. And he's showing the actual lacerations around the neck that show clear blood. And he said it's too low in the neck
That's her postulation right here. She says if he did what you thought, like which would have been like leaning forward on the ground, that it probably would have been a little higher under the jaw, not down at the base of the neck, kind of. But it's a little bit tough to say. I guess we weren't there.
I would imagine if you're killing somebody like that, they're trying to get away. People that are trying to get away do that. Right? If you're killing them from behind, if that guy's holding them down. Oh, come on, man. Look at his neck.
So
Hold on, though. Is any of that actually breaking the skin? The thing is, it looks like a wire. It looks like a wire to me.
It does look like a wire.
that's why it looks way too thin to be that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
thick
That thick
cloth
thing.
noose.
I mean, maybe that thick noose thing is really strong fabric. But that looks like a wire to me, man. But wouldn't a wire just slice right into your neck, too?
Yeah, it looks like that's more like blood rising to the skin than an actual cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, too. It looked before, though, like it was a cut. So maybe there wasn't really that much blood that actually came through the skin. And maybe all that cloth just maybe it's really thin and it gets down like a wire. Like if you choke somebody with like a bandana, you know, like if you had like one of them bandanas that hippies put on their dogs, and you choke someone to death with one of those things, I gotta think it's gonna make a very small mark. I don't think it's gonna make a thick mark. If you like got someone in like an Ezekiel choke with one of those things and fucking
Yeah, that's a strong.
it would get thin, like where it was choking you, like the actual
the point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would that make a mark like that?
I'm sure someone now is going to go start myth busting, like what it looks like if you do that test, and like
They have to murder someone to find out if it's true. Just get another piece of shit.
But, so we'll find out later today, I'm sure.
The whole
how
thing is
accurate
so
it goes, but-
strange, man. It's so public.
Still recharging.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Human trafficking. That's another thing that we don't talk about.
Yes. That is another thing that just goes in and out of the news. We were talking about on the podcast the 39 or 35 kids that were rescued in Georgia.
Yeah.
And it was a blip in the news. Like but meanwhile I saw 1,000 articles on how mean Ellen is. Ellen is mean. She's so mean. Meanwhile, there's like people are out there risking their life to stop human trafficking. They're rescuing children
Yes.
from human trafficking.
Yes.
What is this? U.S. Marshal. Wow, 72 million missing children.
Missing.
Excuse me. 72. Did I say million? 72 missing children across Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, and Georgia in the past several weeks. In the past several weeks. So what is this is where these. So when you read an article like that, U.S. Marshals rescued 72 missing children. This is where like all the QAnon people get crazy because they think that Donald Trump is secretly working behind the scenes to stop child trafficking, and that there's like some secret cabal in the government that wants to enable this shit.
Right.
And then Facebook bans QAnon, and everyone's going crazy now.
Yeah.
Like this child trafficking thing
Is real.
Is real.
It's
It has always existed.
Did you know that Houston is actually one of the hubs for child trafficking in the U.S.?
Really.
Yes, it is.
Now, how
Yes,
do
it is.
they find out about child trafficking? Like, how do they infiltrate?
So usually it's local law enforcement that recognizes some abnormalities in the behavior of some of the children. Usually it's certain areas, certain shops, certain businesses that are kind of harboring these people. A lot of them just get stopped because it's kind of really odd if you're in a van or an 18-wheeler and then there's like 20 kids in it. It's weird. And we, as a culture, have got to work with local law enforcement to start to curb this thing, because that's where the rubber meets the road. I don't know if you saw the story. I don't know if you could pull it up, sir, but if you saw the story about the flight attendant that helped out.
Yes, the girl.
That recognized the abnormality of
Yes.
a girl on a flight by herself and saved her life.
Yes. And they had the authorities on the ground when the plane
Waiting.
landed. Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah.
We have got to see more of that. And so this is how we talked about in the Army. You got to police your own troops. We got to police our own. If we are just acutely aware of the abnormalities and the behavior of young children who clearly are under duress, we cannot turn a blind eye to it.
Why is this not a bigger story in mainstream news? This is one of the things that concerns me. I don't understand why you're not seeing this on CNN. This is
Every day.
Yeah.
Why aren't we seeing this every day on CNN?
Right. That story right there should be leading on
Everything.
primetime news.
Everything.
That should be leading. 72 missing children rescued.
Yes.
So how are they it can't be just that they're randomly discovering what these kids in a truck, or they see a kid on a plane acting weird and that's how they catch everybody. Like,
Right.
how are they infiltrating? Like, how, because there's also a bunch of guys that are former spec ops guys that are working to fight child trafficking. How are they doing this?
So
I drive with Uber because my entire family, they are in Afghanistan. Once a year, I visit them, spend like 2 or 3 months back home. Flexibility is important to me because I can visit my family, come back and be on the road again.
Do you recall not long ago we would walk on the
sidewalk. All around the wind blows, we would only hold on to let go. Blow a kiss into the sun, we need someone to lean on. Blow a kiss into the sun, all we need is somebody to lean on. All we need is someone to lean on.
The solution to this, in my opinion, yeah, I'll get to your answer in a second. The solution to this, in my opinion, is actually, and I would be in huge favor of this, of literally starting a separate task force to address this in known hotspots. The other way we're finding out, as to answer your question, the other way that we're finding out as to how they're infiltrating is really if you go to hubs of the world, like Houston, you go to coastal cities where people are actually bringing people into the country. That's exactly where you're going to find a lot of it. So if you just kind of hang out around these areas, then you'll see a lot more of it. You'll discover a lot more of it. And so Houston has become kind of one of those hubs because of its geographic location. It's actually near a port city. And obviously people are coming through port cities at a higher rate. Cargo's coming through at a higher rate. And so we're actually able to track that at a better rate if you just kind of hang around the hoop. You'll find it.
Mm. So how are these people communicating?
Oh my goodness.
It seems like if the government can use programs like Edward Snowden revealed, like how are they organizing these things, and where are they getting these kids from?
They get these kids from actually all over the world. A lot of them are coming from impoverished communities. A lot of them are coming from impoverished countries, and they're just shipping them in. A lot of them come from Asian countries, actually, and a lot of them come from right here in the U.S. And this is something that dawned on me, is particularly with having two girls now, and that is it's also my job to continue to protect them and all of these young people, and it's actually young boys as well. It's not just young ladies. It's actually incumbent upon them to keep them safe. If we can't keep them safe, then what are we doing here? Literally, like that's our role now. You know, as fathers and as responsible human beings, is keeping our young people safe. And the biggest thing is this: there clearly is an appetite and there clearly is a culture for it. What I want to do is, how do we place extreme punishment on those who behave in this and partake in this behavior? I tell you what, it could be happening right next door to you, to somebody that seems to be a normal human being. But we have got to stop them. We have to stop the predator from feasting on our children.
Yeah.
And it's got to be demonized. Let's demonize that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. How are these people communicating, though? Are they doing it through the dark web? Are they doing it through forums? Are they using code? Like, how are they doing this?
I've heard all the above.
Yeah.
I've also heard communicating through just open email inboxes, right? They don't hit send, but they have the password for multiple emails, and they'll just go in, get the message, and then never open or close it, so it's impossible basically to track. It's just like a draft.
Oh, I see. And so other people have the login to the account,
password, and
they check it out through the draft. That makes sense. You know, it's funny because this subject, because of things like Pizzagate, the subject became so taboo that no one wants to talk about it because it sounds preposterous, because Pizzagate was so preposterous.
Right.
Guy shows up and with a gun looking for kids that are tied up in the basement, and everybody's like, oh my God.
There's nobody here.
Everyone's wacky. These child sex trafficking fanatics that are interested in this and that are trying to stop this, they're all crazy people.
Right.
But that's not really the case.
Right.
The problem with something like Pizzagate is that it confuses everybody.
Yeah.
And you start thinking that all this stuff is nonsense. But then these stories, they make it to these websites, and you see that this is a real thing. These are real news stories, but then they don't get talked about in mainstream.
That's right. And then we lose track of who the real enemy is.
Yeah, that's a real enemy, not Ellen.
That's dangerous, right? Not
Ellen being mean to her assistant. Just fuck. Just what we care about is so bizarre. Yeah. It's such a symptom of how sick we are as a culture, and that our priorities are so skewed. And that this is sort of accentuated by our addiction to social media.
Yeah.
And that people are concentrating so much on things that are trivial and nonsensical. What's up, buddy?
I found an article on Reuters that said that like the mainstream media has been reporting on this. So like that, I'm looking through pages to find out details on different reporting of this. All I'm finding this on is like local news sites. So how, like, what does that mean though that it's not being reported?
Well, you don't see it on CNN. You're not seeing it as like mainstream television news where it's a big subject that gets discussed, that we have a giant problem like this in this country. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm digging through here, and then like the human trafficking angle, according to what like the U.S. Marshals done here, it's 1 in 4 of these kids. So if it was 25 kids picked up, that's 6 or 7 of them were human trafficking. The other 20 or so are like kids that ran away or kids that were being abused. And they found them because they were missing. So some have been missing for 2 weeks, some up to 2 years.
Wow.
So not every kid is in a human trafficking.
That's those
sex trafficking
72.
situation.
That's 72.
Okay.
The ones, the 35 though in Georgia, I think those were all
it's all the
same
thing. Yeah.
Same kind of thing. So they're collecting, and then they're like reporting the numbers. So like they're collecting these 35 kids over a period of time, and then they're reporting we found 35 kids. So like it's a month later, they found 35 kids.
This one from September, which should have been reported 5 weeks ago, says that they recovered 25 missing and endangered children over the last month. 1 in 4 was part of what they believe an alleged human trafficking situation.
Obviously, 1 is too many.
Yeah,
right?
obviously.
But so it seems like they're finding missing kids, and a percentage of them happen to be a part of human trafficking. And now here's the question: how many of the kids that are being human trafficked actually get discovered? We're finding this 5 here, 6 here. These
but
part
how
of these
many
groups.
actually are there?
How many of them actually are there? Do we know? We don't, right?
We don't.
Just
know.
the fact that it's a real thing is spooky as fuck.
It is. It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's terrifying for fathers and mothers. And,
it is.
You know, it's like the fact that, or brothers and sisters, the fact that it could be someone close to you.
Yes.
Meet Chris and Mark. They've both heard of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But while Chris is using eToro to trade top cryptocurrencies,
strength and honor. Brawl. Strength.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
I mean, because things would play it at the drive-in and then go away.
Yeah.
You know, that was like, that's how I felt when the first time, I loved when 42nd Street in New York was the real 42nd Street.
Right.
And I remember, it was so funny, me and my friend, my roommate back then, we'd always go to 42nd Street to see movies, because it'd be like Cannibal Holocaust. I would just see the poster, what the fuck is Cannibal Holocaust? And you go see this Italian cannibal movie, go, this is literally the most, I cannot believe another human made this movie.
Right.
And it blows your mind. But I remember every time I went to 42nd Street, I saw a really bad incident happen. Like, you could not go there. Like, we'd be like waiting in line and like, oh, let's go get some French fries before the movie. 2 guys would start fighting at McDonald's. One guy would just pummel the other guy. It'd be blood everywhere. I go, it happened. Next time we go, we'd see a guy stab another guy in the theater while watching. There it is. Like, literally, I never went there once. And even right till I was recording my album before I moved, I remember walking to the studio, which was like maybe 43rd, and there was a dead body lying there, and they had just found him, and they were just starting to put the sheet. So I actually didn't see the violent act, but I saw the dead body. But you didn't care. Like, and even right till I was recording my album before I moved, I remember walking to the studio, which was like maybe 43rd, and there was a dead body lying there, and they had just found him, and they were just starting to put the sheet. So I actually didn't see the violent act, but I saw the dead body. But you didn't care. Like, New York, it was like New York when I moved to New York in '82 still seemed like, you know, Taxi Driver New York.
Yeah, well, that was when it was. And
it was
coming
a-
from
the
Haverhill
wild
must have been
fucking west.
so exciting because Haverhill's so boring in comparison.
Yeah, couldn't be more boring. if its goal was to be boring, it's
gold medal.
Yeah, yeah, it succeeded. I remember Haverhill was so bad that when we were kids, I remember. I don't forget. Maybe this was maybe the around the bicentennial. I think they were trying to drive business because Main Street. We can't even blame Walmart back then. Was dead. There was nothing there. It was just a ghost town. And they're like, they just put all these banners up. Haverhill, the all-American city. But it was like the catchphrase is going to
That's
matter.
going to make people open businesses.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
I was
know.
like, oh, this is so bad.
Time to sell flags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah,
stupid.
I went to New York City for the first time in the 80s as well. I'm trying to remember what year it was. It was like somewhere probably around 82 or 83. And when we were in the city driving around, I remember thinking, like, this is the craziest fucking place I've ever been in my life. The
Yeah.
buildings were so big, it didn't make sense. Pulling up to it, I remember we drove up on the West Side Highway, and you see the city coming up in the distance. Like, you see the buildings getting
Yeah.
larger and larger as you get closer.
It's mental.
Didn't seem real.
I remember being on the sidewalk. Now, this is coming from a place where a sidewalk means there's literally no other person on the sidewalk as far as you can see.
Right.
And they were standing on the sidewalk and must have been uptown somewhere. And it was like you couldn't move with people. I was like, what is happening?
Right.
Like, I've never
Swarms.
seen, like, this is how it is all the time. Like, I lived in a street in Haverhill, like, a car drove down it, like, once a day. And it was probably your dad coming home from work. Like, there was just nothing.
If you could if you had a time machine though, and you went from 1982 and you said, "Hey, what do you think it's going to look like here in 2019?" You'd be like, "Fuck, man, it's going to be Mad Max."
Yeah.
Like there'd be fucking cars driving with black smoke coming out of them, people shooting people right on the street. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, the only thing I remember, right towards my end of being there, there was that Tompkins Square, downtown. And that was where it's just like wherever homeless people lived. It was Alphabet City. It was like the worst. Well, wait, I want to back it up. When I first moved to New York, the first night I was there, this sounds like I'm making it up, and I'm not. The first night I was there, the dorm that I was in with all my roommates overlooked Union Square Park, which was like Needle Park. You just went there to buy dope, and that was it. Now you go there because it's a farmer's market, and it's beautiful. And I heard this guy